think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together.
See you, Space Podboys.
Yeah!
That's right.
That's a flyby.
Episode 15. We are well into the half.
Yeah.
This one's called My Funny Valentine. I'm Abe Epperson. I'm joined by Adam Ganser.
Yes. I thought this one felt more like, oh, this is more season 2 vibes. You know what I mean?
Really
like I felt
is.
like we got into that a bit more this time.
We're getting into like the second beats of the characters. As you're going to see these next two, which we happen to be recording concurrently.
Mm-hmm.
My Funny Valentine is a Faye episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the next episode, 16, Black Dog Serenade, is a Jet episode.
This is the first time we've even explored Faye's backstory at all. Like, we have no concept of her backstory, basically, other than she's on the run.
She's on the run. She's in debt. We got that from the casino episode where it's like, you'll never pay back this debt. So we get like hints at it. She's also lied several times, and she hides lies with truth. So there are like conversations she's had that are brought up in this episode that are kind of like, well, which part of that is true? Is any of that true? We don't know really. Because of, I would say, the events of this episode teaching her that life is a bunch of scammers.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I don't want to give all my, I have a specific take on this episode that we'll do during Pushing the Sky. So I'll wait till then.
Well, let's, without further ado, get into it. This is our first section called What Planet Is This? So basically, this is where I'm going to kind of be the quarterback. And we're going to do the play-by-play of the episode and hopefully give you some interesting tidbits about what the Bebop crew is all up to.
Where is this episode? Is it just in space somewhere? Like, do they even identify that?
I mean, it's just in space. There's no
like
we
planet
don't get
or
any,
moon we're orbiting.
We aren't told in this story where she came from, like where the medical center was.
Yes.
And I don't think we get much in terms of like where the latter half of the episode, where it just kind of happens in space. They're chasing people, so I would just assume outer belt, just because that's where we've kind of been. But we know that Bebop hops around, usually sticks to the inner planets. But we've gone to Jupiter, you know?
It seems like most of the show is like within, like, stretches from Saturn's moons to Earth. I guess there's a little Venus in there. So, but we don't really go to Neptune, Uranus, Pluto.
No, it's
Mercury.
Too cold out there, or too hot.
Well, that's an amazing assumption we all make, and I make it too. Well, it's too cold to go out there. They have planets on, or they have fucking colonies and shit on Europa and like all these other places.
Yeah. Europa's unique. Titan is another one.
Yeah,
that is
Ganymede.
Powered by the warmth of its oceans.
Venus looks like you're living in a dandelion in this show, you know?
Yeah, but for the most part, I would say like 70% of Bebop occupies our main planets that have been terraformed somewhat. Venus, Mars, you know.
Okay, I have one tangential remark, and then I promise I won't derail you anymore. So the tangential remark is, like 2 weeks ago, I got really into these YouTube videos that are just floating directly into a planet, and what does it look like in there?
Isn't it great?
It's crazy. Jupiter, terrifying. Utterly terrifying. Yeah.
Start getting into the ones where like how big's our suns.
Yeah. I love that one.
That shit blows my mind.
It's just one guy that's like clearly put a camera and then like put it on a straight path, and you're just falling, quote unquote, into the planets. And it's all of them are pretty crazy. The Jupiter one though was like, this is upsetting. This is an upsetting journey to get into Jupiter.
Do they live at the end?
No, everyone dies. Don't even know how they got the footage.
Another failure.
Yeah, science will cover. We'll get over it.
We'll get there.
We'll get past this.
We don't have to be dropping bodies as much as we are.
Yeah, we could do less body dropping. Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
Thought you'd appreciate that.
Let's get to it.
Great.
So My Funny Valentine starts with a cryptic, very reminiscent of Spike getting his eye popped out.
Yeah.
From the previous episodes, where just like the layout are the same, bunch of doctors, a bunch of heavy tech. But this one turns out to be cryogenic sleep kind of situation. And it's Faye Valentine being put to sleep. And this is in the 21st century. And people are just, we see that there's storage unit. There's a bunch of these pods. And she is basically a faceless, nameless pod amongst this. But then we jump to the present. Jet and Ed are having some, like, taking food out of a freezer that they forgot.
Evidence that Jet was hanging on to. And I don't know what. I'm so curious what that could have been.
I love that he's kind of a hoarder, but for evidence, for justice.
Right. But it's also like, for what? Who needs it? Who needs the evidence of those fish?
Well, I think he was like, well, I have this evidence. Might as well hold on to it until, you know, if I eat it, I can eat it. I always need food. He's a resourceful man.
Yeah, sure.
But it turns out they're like, I don't know.
Full of poison.
There's toxins and I assume parasites or whatever, because we've seen what comes from their fridges.
Plus, look at those fish. Those are dumb looking fish. You don't want to eat something that looks stupid.
Those are some Simpsons looking fish.
They are.
And, you know, that we're still in the same, we're always where we start with these fuckers, where it's like,
they're hungry.
We're so hungry. We need a bounty.
Yeah.
And you don't eat that fish, Ed. Stop you trying to eat the fish. You're going to die from the fish. So Jet has to stop Ed. And they figure out there's a very low stakes con man that's been run around that they've caught, or he's caught in particular, where his MO is he seduces and defrauds women. And it's just enough to get like a meal. Like this guy is small beans, one could say. And he notes Spike hates this kind of work. But Faye wakes up.
Spike's not even in this episode till the midpoint because of that. Anyway.
Because of, he was probably eating shitty fish or something.
He probably ate the first round of the Simpsons fish.
Ate the first round. But Faye wakes up. We catch her in medias res. We've seen she's been dreaming.
Yeah.
It's more of a nightmare because it's of her past. And she finds that Ein has just like shit everywhere, I guess. So she smells it. So she's going to clean his litter box. And during that time,
a litter box, by the way.
Yeah. She's like, what the hell? It just means you didn't change the litter box.
Right.
Like a bunch of animals.
Well, she's mad at him. This is a dog that can use a toilet. The thing says toilet. You know what I mean? So like, just shout out to Ein managing a toilet as a dog. Yeah. Pretty nice work.
If he knew what he was doing, he would use the human toilet, but we don't know what his capabilities are.
Unexplored. This is an unexplored narrative avenue.
Unexplored narrative of Ein. Because he might be doing it as a power play. We don't really know.
Completely possible. Because he pulls
pick
several.
Up my shit.
Yeah. I wish you could spell it and shit. Spell those words and shit. Anyway, please continue.
Ein's a cool customer.
Yeah, he is.
He's letting Faye clean up his shit.
Mm-hmm.
And she decides to take that moment while they're alone in the hallway to be like, here's a story. And she tells the story, as far as she knows, from 2068. So 50 years plus ago.
Mm-hmm.
Faye is pulled out of the water somewhere and put into a hospital, woken from a long sleep. And the doctor, who says, I'm Bacchus and he used to be a drunk. I don't know how that's related, but I guess it's kind of foreshadowing that he's a shadowy figure.
Because of the joke? Yeah, he was a weird guy.
He loves his joke.
He loved his joke. Loved his joke. By the way, Ein was not into this story immedially.
Yeah, Ein falls asleep immediately.
Yawned so hard when she asked, do you want to hear a story? Yawn.
Oh, jeez.
It's like someone pitching you their screenplay. You're like, oh, man.
Oh, man. And Bacchus has an assistant that's pretty much a yes woman. And she's just like, I'm here to help you out, buddy.
Yeah.
And he casually kind of turns the conversation from you've been woken up in the future to now you need to pay us all back, and it's something astronomical like 300 million wulongs. And that's just because of the hospital bill, inflation, the cost of it. But the whole point we understand is that you were put in cryogenesis for the purpose of you had some disease that now can be solved. That's now gone.
You and I did.
They don't know, though.
That's right. You and I did very mild math on this, like maybe 10 episodes ago, where we realized Wulongs are not this wildly inflated currency. Like they're not that far off from $1's value, I think. Right? Like it could be similar.
I mean, it has its own inflation, so
right. But I'm just saying, like, when you hear that number, you're like, well, what does that mean in dollars?
Like, is that
it's not that
it's similar between yen and dollar bills, but even that's in fluctuation in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, it's something like
this is like
hundreds of millions of dollars for the Western viewers,
which is crazy. It's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, and she's like, also, I don't know what this is. Like, I have no memory. And they're like, oh, okay, that's not what we expected, but okay. So she's put in the hospital on kind of extended stay, and she meets this lawyer, Whitney Haggis Matsumoto. Love that. Haggis. Whitney doing all that stuff.
Haggis Matsumoto is this man's name.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm a lawyer. I'm your lawyer. I've been doing research in this arena, and I'm going to help you. And by the way, you were in an accident 54 years, but when you were like 20, but then something happened at the gates, and we lost all, like connection with the past, more or less, because this catastrophic solar system event.
Yeah.
That like we lost all of the details. We don't know why or what you're doing here. So we don't have that information. And at this point, we have no reason not to trust him. And he seems like a nice guy. But Faye, overwhelmed by the fact that she's going to have to somehow spend her entire life paying all this shit back.
Just to be clear, they tell her she was in a car accident. He doesn't.
That's right. They do. They give details. So it's all made up.
It's all made up. The fact of actually the accident on Earth makes her history completely gone doesn't come out till later.
And even that can be suspect at this point. But at this point, we're not supposed to be asking any of these questions.
Right.
But she's pissed, as you'd expect, and out of water. And so she's like, I'm going to fucking run, which is kind of what Faye does.
That's the origin story of her running.
Right. Yeah. But she trips an alarm, and Matsumoto finds her and is like, look, I'm going to actually help you. We'll do payments and installment. We're going to figure this out. This isn't crazy. So she takes that comfort. And then we get a montage where he buys her meals and takes her out to, buy clothes, and they have a great time. She falls for him. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in like a minute, like 60 seconds of runtime.
I'm glad. Love in 60 seconds. And he calls her
his sleeping beauty.
Yeah.
Which makes her feel like a teenager again, I assume.
Yeah.
And as they're driving back one of these days during their halcyon nights, they are like, the police just stop off, or it's a collection agency, and he's like, you got to get out of here.
Right.
And it's like perfect setup. He drives a little further as she gets out of the car. Car blows up. Seems like perfect alibi. He's died in a huge explosion due to this collection agency.
It's so funny because, like, even as a viewer, it feels a little off, but not off enough that you're like,
not off enough
that, oh, this is a problem. You're sort of accepting it as, oh, this is what's happening in the story.
This is, in fact, the first time you're like, this is weird
strange.
Beat.
Yeah.
But up to this point, you're just like, oh, she's just falling for this guy who's nice.
Yeah, but like all con men, I feel like any scrutiny of any piece of this, it feels very strange.
It falls apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very well done. So she is now back at the hospital, and Bacchus informs her that you are also the now sole heir of Matsumoto. So he's dead, and you collect all of his money and his entire estate. And she's like, he's such a wonderful guy. Turns out he doesn't have assets, he only has debts, so it's only added to her debt count.
Added to the pile. She's like an inverse Scrooge McDuck. Instead of having, she's swimming in a void of debt.
Yeah, it's just negative money.
Yeah.
We cut to the present day. Faye's like, and that's my story. Spike exits the bathroom, and he's like, your story needs editing. He was listening the whole time when he was just dropping a huge deuce.
Such a poop. And also...
Such a poop for like 20 minutes, probably.
Long poop. That's a really long one, so there's a diet issue there. And the other thing is no compassion whatsoever. Like, she's telling this story to a dog, and he's still like, you wasted my time.
Yeah,
because I was around it.
And he hates it. Like, that's such a... Don't fuck with Faye in that way. She does not deserve any of this.
It's so mean, but it's also very funny. The dog doesn't care. She's telling the story to a sleeping dog, and he still feels entitled to his own time. You wasted my time because I was around this story.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, Jet arrives, and he's got Matsumoto. And it's like been 3 years since she last even saw him.
Yeah.
And he's huge now. He's a big fat guy.
Yeah.
And she was like, you know what? I realize now that I was a mark. You pass off your debt to all these women, and you probably have done this scam before. Fuck you. And she's like, I'm going to need to talk to this motherfucker alone. Jet, who knows nothing about this, Spike, who's probably wasn't even listening, lets this happen.
Right.
We also get the detail that Matsumoto is like trying to appeal to her, kind of like, this, a lot's happened since, you know, it's crazy. I have a whole story. You just got to listen to me. You know, typical con man stuff. Mentions that Dr. Bacchus is dead. Like, basically explains like all this weight is actually because like I needed a procedure, and she's like, nah, that's bullshit. You're just trying to change who you look like,
right,
to commit all these scams. It's pretty simple.
You just gained weight. I mean, that's also,
or you just gained weight.
Yeah.
And he seems regretful. Playing at all the great hits.
Yeah.
Faye's kind of seeing through it now because she's a little wiser, but she's still like, I'm going to need to talk to this guy. And the police arrive to make an exchange for Matsumoto, but Faye decides, you know what, I need to find answers. Yeah. So he's coming with me into my fucking zip car.
Zipcraft.
And we're fucking zipping right out of here. And so, which is funny because I just want to mention that during this time, there's a bunch of like misogyny.
Oh yeah, so
Jet.
much.
That is like that women do not function with reason, and they're hopeless and stuff like that. And they're immediately like validated because she like steals the bounty that isn't even hers technically, but it's because they don't know what we know, which is that she's seeking answers, all this stuff. It's just really dates the 1990, you know, like
it's an interesting, the misogyny here is interesting because on the one hand, the show validates it. On the other hand, the show is compassionate to Faye. It feels like it's saying both things, you know? Yeah. It's strange. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I think the show thinks, but Jet's terrible in this. Terrible.
Jet's terrible. Yeah. Jet's terrible in this. As we move forward, as Faye is basically trying to say, okay, Matsumoto, give me these answers. Another police car that's actually not a police car, police ship, arrives, and it has Bacchus in it, along with his assistant. And she, at this point, knows, okay, this is all a scam, you know? And she's like, Matsumoto, you just come clean with me. What's the truth? Because I'll hand you to the police so fast. And after Bacchus and Manley kind of arrive, she can tell that there's further lies, there's inconsistencies between the story. Why are you alive? You said he was dead. And then at one point he says like, calls him uncle, which is another thread in there. Bacchus also says he gave her the name Valentine based off of his favorite song, My Funny Valentine. So it's like everything is built on lies, even her name. And then the real police arrive and they're like, someone stole a patrol ship.
And they Green Goblin out of there.
Like they're bad con men. I mean, that's why they don't have it's crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy.
And Faye is, And Faye's like, you know what? I'm going to get the bounty on them. Fuck all this. So Matsumoto is now in custody. He tells Faye that he's like, I do know one true thing. I fell in love with you while you were sleeping.
Yeah.
You truly are my sleeping beauty. And he immediately reverses course and is just like, oh, I'm sorry. It's a lie. It's a lie. Because he doesn't want to even reveal that. And she can see right through it. And as they leave police headquarters, Jet gives Faye a third of the money, which actually is more than he's leading on to believe, because
it's 19. Like, so he thought he was going to make
a zero.
Yes, he thought he was going to make
so
20
they're
grand.
More pathetic.
They made 2.
He gave her 15%, or I mean 15, like 15,000% of what everyone got. So he could feel like, okay, this was more important to her, because they got something like 2,000 wulongs.
Yeah, they got
like
no
Spike
money.
And yeah. So
it's very
anyway,
silly.
That's the end of My Funny Valentine. The reveal that she comes from a battered past that she knows nothing of.
Yes.
And was just continued to be battered. Well, we don't actually know her we don't
know anything about her yet. I would
until that episode, which we don't learn much from. It's par for the course for Bebop, but we know up to this point her life has been led for the last like 3 to 4 years by lies and the liars that tell them.
Yes. And we know that she doesn't know her past. Like that. Yes. Those are the things that I think are solidified here. This doesn't belong in this section, so I'm going to hold on to it. But I have a very important question to ask you when we get into the final sequence.
Hold on to that. I want to just mention 2 very important things for this episode.
Great.
One is, can we talk about the face cleaner?
Yes, of course. Of course I want to talk about that.
How is it popular enough to put on your desk?
Yeah. Why would you make it look like that?
It's like a face hugger.
Well, you have a handle on the front of it. You press it into your face like an iron.
It's terrible.
It's awful.
Design.
Who would use that?
Second, I want the beer ads they have.
Yes, I knew.
In the apparel.
They are amazing. Yes.
Just a huge yoke guy who drinks and laughs at you.
Just howling with joy. Like that beer has improved his life so much.
Having a better time than you are, motherfucker. Greatest beer ad I've ever seen.
Beer. It's very good.
This beer. All right, let's move to the next section, yes?
Yeah, so that means we're going to push this guy.
So this is where Adam and I both we choose one aspect of the execution of this episode, whether it's directorial or otherwise, and we go like, hey, I like that, and here's why. I've talked for a bit, so let's hear Adam.
Okay, so I was thinking this episode is not as stylish as other episodes might be in terms of having obvious genre tropes and stuff. But one thing that it's doing is it's weaving an alternate past for Faye. I use alternate because all this could be a lie. A lot of this could be a lie. It probably isn't, but a lot of it could be. And it's weaving this sort of this Sleeping Beauty myth about her, right? That's like, this is the life she expected to have, wanted to have. And every reveal in that backstory is absurd or disappointing. Every single one. And they do it so many times that it becomes this great visual trope. Sometimes with jokes, sometimes with just actual plot beats. But you don't realize how much they're sort of poking a hole in the myth the whole time until it all comes together at the end. So like, I'll give you some examples. The first one is the one Abe mentioned, and it's perfect because it tells you what's actually happening. And that is, she guesses 3 pieces of tech, what they are, and they look very much like the things she says there. Like, that's a TV, right? This is a teapot. This is a cell phone, right? And they all turn out to be really strange and alienating versions of future tech, you know, that are like, oh, it shouldn't look like that. Like, they look wrong, right? Which is why Abe and I want to talk for hours about that face thing, right? So, like, it's the first, that's the trope, and they do it a bunch of times, where what the future is alienating and doesn't work and jarring for this person who wanted to have a fairy tale life, right? So another example, she runs off, right? Which is, again, very fairy tale trope, through a forest, barefoot. You know, it's got a kind of whimsical feeling to it. She runs into this shelter by the freeway, the shelter blasts into weird beer ads and casino stuff, right?
Right.
Like, and lights up in this weird way where she's like, what's this all about, right? She tries to hitchhike with a car. The car turns out to be a flying car flying over the road for no reason, and she's like, what the hell is that, right?
It's probably also automated, which we don't.
It could be, yeah. But its
point is, it doesn't stop for her. It's not for her,
right?
So
also, it's not
doesn't...
it couldn't, because it's a flying car. You know what I mean? Like, she can't even really do it. The moment Whitney dies, there'd been like a little montage of music, right? And it was like a song with lyrics and much more foregrounded as music than a lot of stuff in Cowboy Bebop is. And the music cuts very jarringly when Whitney blows up. Like, the fairy tale ends in this hard right turn kind of way, to set up this sort of like, oh, this wasn't what I thought it was supposed to be. When Faye is telling the story, even in the present day to Ein, there's another jarring cut and Spike walks out of the bathroom. Right? Like, that reveal is very like, it's funny, right? Because it implies he's been in the bathroom doing we know what for all this time, right? So it's kind of this letdown. And I think it all sort of builds to this one moment that the whole episode's built around, which is revealing Whitney for the final time, right? When we finally see him again, he's 150 pounds heavier, like much heavier, right? Like, and it really sucks all the romance out of this, sort of tragic Casanova type figure from the past. This is who he actually is. So the show does a series of reveals that are visual to tell you what the actual story is, like telegraph that actual story. I thought that was a pretty cool writing/directing technique, and that's what I got.
Yeah, it's very similar. I just want to add to, because it's the development. There's not a ton in this episode that isn't exposition, right? And they do the exposition well, because we're with Faye the whole time, and we kind of see her opinions peppered, reflections on it. She's driving the story, but it's mostly, what is my past, and this is what I remember, and then later, what is the big question. And you're absolutely right. I want to poke apart specifically that first, that one it's only a minute long. It's like 55 seconds or something, where Faye is falling for Matsumoto, right? He says all the right things up to this point, and he's serving as a person whose agenda is not one that is taking advantage of you, which is something that, like, lovers and con men share.
Who
they both do that.
He's posing as that.
A lover and a killer will both, like, seduce you in that way.
Yeah. And what he's pitching her is that he's advocating for her to get the debt removed.
Right.
So he's like, I guess we're going through the court process is what's implied there. I just want to be clear about that. Yeah. But
the efficiency of this montage that you've been talking about is almost like a comedy, like wherever they just go along with whatever bit's happening, and now that's, canon. And it's almost like it's at homeness, like the feeling of everything's going right, which most montages only really have one purpose. Like, it's like a song.
It's one beat.
Like, I want to hold your hand.
Yes.
Right. That's the point of most montages, or they only serve one purpose. And this one is kind of awesome because it so effectively and efficiently does it that there is an off-putting nature to it. It's also the song that you mentioned, that it's almost like, this is like someone dreaming of a montage that's perfect. Like, if you were to write your own movie and you had that moment that you just want absolute elation, how would you write that? And because it's Cowboy Bebop, it's a little bit more complex about that. And I also love, on the other end, when the other shoe drops, the efficiency of that moment, which is the shot of Faye when Matsumoto says, I couldn't ask for anything better than for you to take me to the police. Like, he's saying, like, oh, well, if you're going to take me to the police, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's you, basically.
Exactly.
Which is such a wild thing to say.
He's Paul Newman. He's turning around in that movie with Tom Hanks. I'm glad it's you. Road to Perdition. Yeah, that's what this is.
It's just so far to take... Try to at this point make her feel like we're on the same side.
Yeah.
And then we get this, like, square cut rough around the edges, reaction shot of Faye. She does not move during the entire reaction shot. It hangs for a bit. It's clear she's motionless. She just doesn't buy it.
No, not even a little bit.
It's just like she learned how the world is, basically scammers. And it's just like the efficiency of both of these moments are fantastic because it's like you fell in love in like 55 seconds from our perspective, of course. For her, it wasn't that. But the presentation of Cowboy Bebop is saying that. And then it's all deconstructed in like 2.5 seconds. You know, it's just immediate falls.
I love that
apart.
too. I think it's because it's hard for us to believe Faye could fall in love. Like, I think that's part of what makes this fun is like, oh,
it's
Faye
out of
fell
time,
in love?
yeah.
No way. You know?
Yeah. It also is reminiscent of when we cut like in a later episode and we see her as a teenage girl,
right?
You know, happy, and we're like, that's not Faye either.
Right. Well, and it's kind of
it's fantastic.
Interesting to watch in the later part of the last half of this episode how she goes back to that same play, the play of running away for her life and trying to get answers. Like, and you realize like, oh, this does add up to why she keeps doing this. You know,
yeah,
like,
I need to solve things on my own term.
Yes.
All of this other stuff is like nonsense.
Yes, but it's a little performative at the end of this. Wouldn't you agree? Like the way she handles it in the last half of the episode with her compatriots on the Bebop is kind of performative.
I mean, I guess she wouldn't have to do it except for the fact that it's a ticking clock. They formed with the police.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
Now is the time she has to ask Matsumoto the questions.
Well,
you know?
And I'm getting ahead of us because this really belongs in the next segment. So I'll let you transition us to that.
Let's head there. This is the part where we talk about themes and zoom out, talk about the larger narrative and stuff.
Yeah.
It's called You're Gonna Carry That Weight.
That's still my favorite song.
Oh, Blues.
Oh, far and away.
Top
far and away.
notch.
Love it. Love that song. You have more of a kindred spirit for the hard hitting tunes in this show, which I like that about you. I think that's great. I'm very much the sad music guy for this show. I love it.
I love it all. Yoko Kanno might be my favorite.
Yeah, she's great.
Composer of all time.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to return to the thing I was saying, if you don't mind. The ending of this, where she kidnaps Whitney, shoves him in her zip craft, and is trying to get out of there. Because, okay, there's a cop that they've reported to. Okay. But, like, the way that she plays it out with Spike feels very much like they both kind of know how it's going to end. You know what I mean? Like, that. In that sense, it feels kind of performative. Like, Spike is having a great time chasing her down.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no, and I mean, it's funny, but also it's like, but I think they both kind of know. It seems like they both kind of know. Right? How do you feel about that? Is that too?
I would say that she's as performative as everyone in Bebop is performative.
Agreed. Yes,
because
I agree.
they all want desperately for their worldview to be not unchecked, but verified.
Yeah, that's right. They're playing out their point of view because they have that conversation at the end. Spike and Faye do.
Yeah.
Where she's like, I don't have a past. And he's like, yeah, but you have a future. And that's what counts. And that's them passing in the night as far as their themes.
They literally are walking past each other. Yeah.
Well, and it is their themes articulated.
Yeah.
You know?
He says, I love her line, which is easy for you to say, you have a past.
Yes.
And his response is, and you have a future, which makes him, in context of things, the biggest hypocrite in the world.
100%. Absolutely. And I kind of love it because it goes by in a way that feels very innocuous. But when you see the end of the show, you realize how often these two were talking around that.
Yes.
You know, they really were.
Brief moments where they say, here's who I am. Which you see in a lot of these kind of animated stuff. Like you see a lot of like, I am a guardian type, or I am a paladin.
Right. And I play that out.
Live by a code. People are archetypes so often. Like and it's, I guess it's not just animated types, but definitely anime in particular loves these kind of loud figures. Even though I would say in Bebop they're pretty subtle. They only say one thing, but
first time. Like, they don't divide as evenly into, Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines, as maybe some other works might. But they are playing out those tropes. There's no doubt.
For sure.
I appreciated... So, like, Jet's misogyny was a bummer. I'm going to shove that aside. I appreciated how... Though I think Spike is equally misogynistic, that also feels kind of performative because of the way he treats her at the end. Like, I think that
this is the guy who
end,
said, "Don't you dare talk shit on women and bring them low. Women are the best." He was the guy who said that.
Who, Spike said that?
Spike said that. Remember when he was because like Faye was saying she was saying women are all like this, and he was like, that not all women, because he's talking
they're
about
not all like
Julia.
you, is what he said.
Yeah, they're not all like you.
Yes.
So I do think there is some nuance there, but ultimately Spike does harbor this kind of belief that like people like us, bounty hunters, pieces of shit, we don't get a spot at the table, man. We suck, and you suck, and I can tell you that you suck. But it's like the equivalent of someone bullying someone who's like low, like that's the problem. That's one of the things that Bebop can't really get past, is that if they can't get through their past and they can't love themselves, they're not going to make it. It's not going to be easy for them to love anyone else, which is why they don't love things that are easily lovable, like pets.
That's interesting.
Dogs, or children. These things are not easy for them to love because they don't love themselves, because they can't get over it.
I agree with that. Do you think that Spike... Well, because Spike goes from not believing the story to definitely believing the story at the end of the episode, right? And that's the first time I think we've seen him validate she has somewhere to go.
Yes.
So I kind of believe what you said is accurate, that like the membership terms for Bebop are sort of like, we're all scumbags, none of us have a future, is kind of like, that's what it takes.
The agreement. Yeah.
And this is the first time Spike acknowledges actually Faye does have a future.
Yeah,
putting a timeline on how long she can be on the Bebop.
Well, Jet's been doing this from the beginning too.
Yes,
they all are pleading at each other at like 100 million miles an hour. You can just look away. You
can do something about it. Yeah,
stop it. Just stop.
Right, walk away
back.
from this. Yeah.
Yet they won't do it themselves.
Right. That seems true to me.
But it's true accurate. That as we learn more about Faye, Spike is going to, and he brings that energy in the next conversation. That's, kind of why we get that, huge scene at the end of this whole thing where he talks about his eyes. All that stuff is leading up to the fact of all you've done is proven to me that you have a second life to live. Right. And you refuse to answer the call.
Right. Because, Faye is at more of a crossroads about what to do about her life than Spike is. Spike's at a rest stop, but he knows where his destination ends. And Jet, well, we'll talk more about Jet in the next episode. So, that's an interesting contrast. Yeah. I have a slightly sillier question, but I think we've done a lot of work here already. That's been great work, so it's time. Isn't this episode great news for Faye in that shouldn't this mean her debt is canceled? Doesn't this mean she doesn't really owe money?
I think she's not dealing with the debt collectors directly. She's dealing with scam artists who are using debt collectors as ways to pump more money out of.
So the doctor and his assistant, who, by the way, stole a police vehicle.
I think our unofficial doctor, they have nothing to do with...
But they did wake her up. They are the ones running the facility.
I think they criminally woke up a bunch of people from a cryogenic.
Oh, to make them pay.
To run the scam.
She was supposed to stay asleep, is what that means.
Your question does reveal another thing. If no one is overseeing it to that extent, how much do they care about each individual person's assets in that case. Because if
Right.
there really was 300 million Wulongs, if that's true, which we're starting to think it might not even be true.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it's true. But like, if you were to believe that, and if there was like 2 or 3 more like you in that big bed of storage bins that all the people are, that's enough for some cops to be involved, you know?
Oh,
But
they'd
instead,
be chasing
the
her
cops
down.
instead the cops are chasing the fucking con artist. So I think you're right. Deep
They're-
down, she shouldn't believe this. She should
would have a mega bounty on her head if she owed this money.
She would. That's
And
which begs
yeah.
the question: how did she get harangued into the casino job? Like, 'cause
Yes.
that her whole thing was, "You'll pay off my bets."
So
But she could have lied to them about how much debt she owed.
could
You know,
be
like
that.
there's so many things that could have happened there.
They could also owe, like she could owe debts to the casino now. That I believe.
Yeah,
So I don't remember how her story revolves or it resolves enough to say whether they satisfied this issue.
right.
But like that's the thing that was like stood out to me this time is like maybe she doesn't really owe anybody any money.
I think she.
You know?
I think the medical procedures. I think there's probably a number there, but I think that it's
Yeah.
so defunct and so long
That
that
who
no
can
one's going to
collect
be
it.
not like you could get away with it. So all this, which is another case for all this guilt that Faye's been feeling about like racking up this debt that isn't even her fault
Mhm.
means nothing. Because
Well-
that's what is a better, like, unless you've done crimes,
Right.
what is a better analogy for that kind of like living in the past? It's just debt collection that you are bringing upon
Right.
yourself,
Right.
convincing yourself that you owe.
Right. It's very funny to me that she probably got in this accident in 2014. Right?
It's
Like
fucking awesome.
they give a number. It's like so it's 2068 when she's woken up. She was 20. So and I want to say they said 54 years or some number like that.
Yeah, 53, 54.
Right. So she's
So
in
it could be COVID.
2014. Yeah.
Could be COVID.
Could be. I mean, yeah. If
They
the
put
dates are
just
sliding,
Faye Valentine in.
if the dates are sliding, that's possible.
Yeah.
But 2014, is a funny year to have had some kind of apocalypse happen to her.
That's not very clear. No one
yeah.
knows what the true answers are
right.
yet.
Right, I don't know. Yeah. Well, I of course remember the grand finale for Faye, but I don't remember the details of it. So I don't know how much of this will age well. But I just think that 2014 going into cryosleep is hilarious in hindsight.
Oh, God, we got to get on cryosleep.
Cryosleep seems amazing.
We got some Demolition Mans to release upon the world, man.
Right. Oh, well, you love
We're
Demolition
overdue.
Man. That's
We're
by the
overdue.
way, that's another funny thing is she goes into cryosleep right when Demolition Man comes out of it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So like they're
Real
missing each other.
loose.
Yeah.
We're
there's-
loose with cryogenesis,
Yeah.
I have to say.
Cryosleep's a real shotgun blast kind of
Could be in 100
technology.
years, could be tomorrow.
Right. No one ever sleeps till like the year 4000. You know what I mean? Like Bender is the most adventurous Sleeping Beauty story there's
That's
ever been. Or not Bender, Fry from
Fry,
Futurama.
Yeah. 1,000 years, that's a good number.
Yeah. Well, and it made a really interesting contrast. Anyway, have we done it?
We've done it.
Yeah, we're heroes.
The next chance you'll get to hear us is somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks.
Nice.
And we're going to talk about the Jet episode.
Ooh, I love that one. It's Black
All right,
Dog
man.
Serenade, right?
That's right. Number
Ooh.
16.
Well, I'll see you next time then.
See you, Space Podboy.